My name's Laura Snyder. I've been serving for almost 4 years on the Astoria School Board. The Astoria School Board has 5 members, and we all serve at large. So if you live in the Astoria School District, anywhere you can run for any of the positions, and all of 5 positions are available for the running in this election. 2 of the positions are for remaining 2 years of a term, and the rest are 4-year positions. So the fact that I serve in position 4 is meaningless, really. It's just the number you go sign up for. Technically, what a school board does is essentially 3 things. We set the policy of the school district, we adopt a budget, and we hire a superintendent if there's a need for that. That's all we really do on paper, but there's a lot more sort of philosophy and conviction behind doing those things. In order to adopt a budget, you have to prioritize how you want to spend your money, and in order to do that, you have to have an idea of what's important to you in education. I always encourage people to, if you're going to run for something that you're interested in. I have a great deal of interest in education, and especially public education. So I enjoy the subject matter, and to sit in the office for a 4-year term, you really need to enjoy the subject matter. So that's why I ran. I have children in the school district, but ironically, that's a difficult thing. It's awkward to be a school parent and an elected official in this school, so that's challenging. Although I'm glad to be doing this work on their behalf, as well as the other, all the students in the district. If you ever attended a school board meeting, it would seem very dry and, frankly, probably dull most of the time. Policies come out of the legislature changing laws or enacting laws, and your policies of your district have to reflect those changes or new laws, so you have to go through them, and you have to understand them, and you have to adopt them. It can be tedious, but what school boards do is on a more informal level is kind of set the tone, really, in the school district for the families and the staff and the tax-paying patrons of the school district. Climate in the schools and amongst the staff and our families is really important to me, and the idea of how solid and good the climate is in the school district is reflects on down how you decide to spend your money and what you decide to spend money on. I've had a relatively easy financially time so far, and that's over now. Being on the school board, we're going to have a really difficult time making a budget, and there's going to be some painful decisions about where our money goes. But I think if your group, your staff, and your parents, if everybody understands that everybody's being honest and forthright and transparent, then we can set the priorities and deal with the issues that come up. I'm really happy to be on the school board. People ask me if it's fun, and I say not really. I wouldn't call it fun, but it's really interesting, and I feel very strongly that I'm glad. I have no regrets about being there, and I have so few regrets that I'm going to run again. So how I campaigned, I think historically it's been rare to have positions like this be contested positions, but 4 years ago there were a couple of bodies, the Astoria School Board and the Port Commission come to mind. There were issues and there were some feelings out there, and all the races that were up were contested, and I ran in a three-way race. I found it intimidating, and I worked really hard to get elected. I was surprised at how hard it was, and I have silly analogies about it, like, it's really hard to have a baby, but then really the hard work starts after that. But you feel sort of satisfied that you did all this work, and then it just gets harder. There. But the first thing that, I was a little scared and intimidated, and I phoned a friend, used a lifeline, and I phoned a friend, and I asked him, what do I do? And he said, well, how many votes do you need to get? And it never occurred to me to wonder how many votes I needed to get to win in the registered voters in the Astoria School District with 3 people running for the race. So I figured that out, and I started from there. I mean, it was just a good focal point to start. I will happily recommend getting all the help you can from the people at the elections office. I have not been that successful at reading and following directions and the paperwork going properly, but they're very helpful there, and they'll set you straight and make sure you do it right. I did raise some money. I didn't aggressively raise money, but people donated money, and I asked them not to donate. I preferred to get $10 to $50 donations, and I think people should know that your privacy is protected as a contributor if you donate $50 or less to a campaign. And I felt strongly that I didn't want any big amount of money from any source. I felt more comfortable. I didn't want anybody to give me a lot of money, but I did get enough money to buy some advertising, which in our local newspaper is expensive, and on the commercial radio station is expensive. But I thought it was money well spent, and that worked out really well. There are places that are happy to interview you during these campaign times, and that doesn't usually cost anything. You can go on KST radio and maybe get yourself on KMUN radio and talk about your points of view. So that's something to do. I spoke to a lot of people just in passing. I too work in a sort of public arena where anybody can find me anytime, which is, as an elected official, has its very much ups and a occasional down, being so incredibly accessible. But I feel as though my job is to represent the students and the families of students in the school district and the staff of the school district, and make sure people's voices are heard. So I really enjoy that. I really encourage running for office. I think, and school boards, people have asked me, well, are you, trying this out so you can run for something else, or, run for a bigger, more important office? And I think not at all. I think that the public schools and the school board service is incredibly important